Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to my evening news report right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. In New Hampshire, Trump retreats strong call for death penalty for opioid traffickers. President returns to New Hampshire for the first time since eve of 2016 general election. Calling the opioid epidemic a scourge, but promising that it will be defeated, President Donald Trump returned to New Hampshire Monday to unveil a board plan to combat the crisis. While the $13 billion plan is multi-pronged and focuses on treatment and reducing demand by eliminating overprescriptions, the president, in a 30-minute speech at Manchester Community College, strongly retreated his call for the death penalty to be imposed for some traffickers. He delivered his speech to about 500 political leaders, law enforcement officials, and invited supporters and family members of victims after he stopped at the Manchester Central Fire Station to get a first-hand look at the successful Safe Station programs. The program, which has received national attention, allows those addicted to drugs to walk into fire stations and be referred to treatment. But while discussing all aspects of his plan, Trump's harsh talk came when he addressed what he views as a need to get tough on traffickers. He said that leaders of other nations have told him that they do not have serious drug problems because they have zero tolerance for drug dealers. Trump said that many Americans may not be ready for such harsh punishment. Trump was accompanied by First Lady Melania Trump, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, Health and Human Service Secretary Alex, Secretary of Homeland Security, Surgeon General, and Drug Garza. The president praised first responders, saying that they exemplify the American heart who fight every day to help rescue their fellow citizens from the grips of addiction. Trump's visit was his first appearance to the Granite State since November 7, 2016, the eve of the general election, when he held a rally at SNHU Arena. Trump easily won the New Hampshire first in the nation Republican presidential primary in February 2016, but lost the state's 4 electoral votes to Hillary Clinton by a margin of 2,700 votes in the general election. The president invoked a small dose of politics into the policy-focused appearance. At the college, he spoke in the same room in which he had held his first campaign event in 2015. At another point, when the crowd applauded Trump, the president quipped, "Thank you all, a lot of voters in this room. I see that. Thank you. He added, the problem will be solved with brains. We're going to solve it with resolve, and we're going to solve it with toughness. Because toughness is the thing that they most fear. During numerous campaign stops in New Hampshire in 2015 and 2016, he repeatedly addressed the opioid issue, often mentioning how he was perplexed that a state with such natural beauty could be in the throes of such a major crisis. He angered critics and frustrated supporters when remarks were made public last summer that he had made several months earlier, calling the Granite State a drug-infested den. Those remarks did not come up on Monday. Governor Chris Sununu was joined by Manchester Mayor Joyce Craig in greeting Trump, the First Lady, and their entourage when they arrived at Manchester Boston Regional Airport. Sununu said later that he and Craig stressed the need for adequate federal funding as we tackle this crisis head on. Craig said that the majority of people seeking services for substance abuse disorder in Manchester are from outside of the city. Trump's visit come as new overdose numbers were released for the state's largest city. In Manchester, overdoses through early March were up 23% from this time last year, but overdose deaths were down 27%. In Nashua, overdoses were up 28%, but deaths were down 38%. Prior to speech, Trump and First Lady stopped at the Central Fire Station in Manchester, where the Safe Station program begun. It allows people struggling with addiction to get help at any time. Officials said nearly 5,000 people have sought help at Safe Station programs in Manchester and Nashua. Over the weekend, the White House released some details of the plan. The plan calls for reducing demand with education, awareness, and preventing doctors from overprescribing painkillers. The plan also calls for cutting the flow of drugs by inspecting high-risk shipments at the border and seeking the death penalty for traffickers were appropriate under current law. It would also give more people more help to those fighting addiction by expanding across access to treatment and improving Medicaid reimbursement to those programs. Protesters gathered at Veterans Park in Manchester before the visit. Organizers said the president has cut funding before and is taking the wrong approach when it comes to the drug crisis, especially by calling for the death penalty. The president returned to Washington after delivering his speech, officials said. He spent a total of about 2.5 hours in the state. And now let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
A whirlwind visit on a brisk day. President Donald Trump made his first...
Whoops, sorry about that, everyone. A little technical difficulties.
Oh, you don't look so hot. Rough night? Oh, well, actually that's the problem. You're on antibiotics.
Antibiotics can kill the good bacteria as well as the bad, and that's bad news for your tummy, unless you use Florastor. Unlike many other probiotics, it's naturally resistant to antibiotics and protects the good bacteria in your body. So, take some Florastor. Doctors, well, my orders. Be biotic, and drink plenty of fluids.
A whirlwind visit on a brisk day. President Donald Trump made his first return trip to New Hampshire since the eve of the 2016 election, speaking at Manchester Community College.
I don't know if you remember, but this is the first place I came for the primaries yet.
Flanked by law enforcement officials, including Attorney General Jeff Sessions, Trump revisited a familiar campaign theme, the opioid crisis. He laid out several policy proposals, from lifting certain Medicaid rules to expand treatment, to launching a new ad blitz to warn kids about the dangers of addiction. And he doubled down on a controversial call for the death penalty for certain drug dealers.
So if we're not going to get tough on the drug dealers who kill thousands of people and destroy so many people's lives, we are just doing the wrong thing.
Trump also highlighted the story of Jim and Jean Moser, whose son Adam died of a fentanyl overdose in 2015.
He's been gone for 2.5 years, and we miss him every day.
The Mosers, who encourage parents to secure prescription drugs in the home, appreciate the president's focus on lives lost in this crisis.
It's about all of the families that were in the audience today holding pictures of their loved ones.
Critics have faulted the administration as being too slow to take action, but the president says he wants to win this battle.
I don't want to leave at the end of 7 years and have this problem. Okay?
The president also brought with him today the head of Adapt, a company that makes Narcan, the drug that counteracts opioid overdoses. He announced he is providing free doses of Narcan, 4 each, to 20,000 schools and colleges nationwide. That's just one of many headlines that came out of Manchester Community College today. Reporting live in Manchester, Adam Sexton, WNUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for my evening news report right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and I'll be back with more news reports tomorrow. Good night, everyone. Bye.